Why not just keep going with your thumb? These are songs like You Are So Beautiful, right? That's all it's doing. It's looking for the strawberry on the left, and then it says, why stop there? At the cantaloupe. So here's the rule, beginners. Never ever be scared of major 7 chords and dominant 7 chords. They are around the corner if you're willing to look for them. Hey, are you one of those beginning piano players that are scared to play 4 and 5 finger chords? Listen, if you give me the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna break it all the way down. Now, most people understand this as the C major triad, right? And if you move it over, you keep this same shape, you know, that's called a D minor triad. Now, I'm not going to break down triads. I've got tons of videos on that. But what a lot of people don't know how to do when they hear things like major 7th or minor 7th or major 9, they get really scared. And maybe somebody has told them, like, you know, the distance between the first and the second tone of the scale is a second, and this is a third, and this is a fourth, and this is a fifth, and this is a sixth. And so they see this 7th as being so far away. I mean, literally, you can take any chord and add the 7 to it. But I think it's this jump that scares a lot of beginners. This lesson, if that's true for you, this lesson is going to set you free. And of all things, I'm going to use fruit to do it. So in this analogy on the screen, say you wanted to combine the apple, which is at the C position, and the strawberry. See, the reason why people think this is so hard is because they're trying to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to the strawberry. But guess what? The strawberry is also directly to the left of the apple. So it's kind of like my mom used to say, man, you can't see the forest for the trees, you know? And so the breakthrough is literally this, right? So if you've got a C major triad here, now normally you'll put a C on your left hand, okay? But a lot of people are used to repeating that C on the right. When you want to make that jump to major 7th chords, you literally have to do one thing: lower your thumb. It's the equivalent of going to that strawberry to your left. That imaginary line would fool you into thinking that you can't look to the left. You know, that's the octave, we call it, right? But you absolutely can. And so I tell beginning musicians, if you've already got the C taken care of in your left, you do not need to repeat it in your right. Drop your thumb 1/2 step. Now, a half step is from key to key with no keys in between. So that means white note, that means black note, that means brown note if your piano is dirty, right? You go down 1 note and you've got yourself a major 7th on this tone, C major 7, okay? Let's say you knew your D major triad. What is the rule? Put this D on your left hand and lower it 1/2 step. Now, this C is not a half step. I said note to note. Whatever touches this note the closest, you're lowering that. So now you have D major 7. Let's say you knew your E major triad, right? Double that E on your left, lower your thumb. Now you have E major 7. Let's say you knew F major triad, right? Lower your thumb on your right, 1/2 step, keep that F in your left. You can double up on your left, and now you've got yourself an F major 7. Let's say you knew G, right? Put that G in your left, lower your thumb, your G to F sharp. If you're a beginner, you got to scoot your fingers up a little bit, because if you keep these fingers down, you're going to be twisting. So you use this narrow part of the key, right, to get you that F sharp comfortably, right? And that would be G major 7. The same is true if you wanted to play dominant 7 chords, right? If you've already lowered your C to the strawberry to the left, let's just say, I don't have a fruit here, but let's just say cantaloupe was this black note, right? You don't have to look for the cantaloupe way up here. You can, right? It's there, right? But why not just keep going with your thumb? These are songs like You Are So Beautiful, right? That's all it's doing. It's looking for the strawberry on the left, and then it says, why stop there? At the cantaloupe. So here's the rule, beginners. Never ever be scared of major 7 chords and dominant 7 chords. They are around the corner if you're willing to look for them. Okay, so what's the rule? Lower it one time, your thumb, that gives you major 7 chord instantly, as long as you have that root. The root is what we're not playing in our right hand because we have it in our left. And if you want to keep going again, lower your 7 to flat 7, and that gives you the dominant tone, the bluesy tone, the gospel note, as I call it, right? So just 2 movements. Now, if you don't want to play this major 7, you are going to have to do some mental gymnastics in your mind. You're skipping that note in your mind, and you're just going down a whole step, okay? So 2 half steps make a single whole step. This is a half step. This is another half step, but you can just go straight to it as well, okay? So that's the first trick, all right? Think about fruit. We don't need to go way to the strawberry over here when we got a strawberry right in our own backyard. There's a book called Acre of Diamonds. Read it. Now, in the same vein, a lot of people are scared of 5-finger chords, what we call 9th chords, but really it's the same mental confusion. Let me explain it to you. Now, here's the problem with 9 chords. Now, let's call this apple 1, this banana 2, this watermelon 3, this orange 4, these grapes 5, this peach 6, this strawberry 7. Now, typically, we would just go back to calling this apple 1, this banana 2. But with extended chords, things that go beyond 7 notes or the interval of a 7th, we can think of this apple as 8, right? Which makes this banana, the same banana down here, it makes it 9. It makes this watermelon 10. It makes this orange 11, right? We're just counting. I know somebody will say, I don't get it, when I'm literally saying, just keep counting, y'all. Please don't complicate this. Keep counting, right? And so what that literally means is that I can think of a banana here at the 9th position as only the same thing as the 2nd position, right? Why overcomplicate it? So when I tell beginners, look, don't overcomplicate 9th chords. This D down here, which is the 2, for example, makes the same sound as this D up here. It's just a little higher. So while you might call this the 2 and this the 9, it's the same tone for all intents and purposes. So if we already know how to transfer this major chord to major 7th, well, all we got to do is look for what is the 2nd tone of this scale, right? And here's the trick. The 2nd tone is always next to your root. So if you've got a C in your bass, that's already a hint that that's the root. That's the bottom of the tree. That's the end all be all. This is where the thing terminates, right? So if you just look a whole step up, or the 2nd tone of your scale, if you happen to know it, for the purposes and intents of playing by ear, this is your 2 or your 9, right? So if I already have this chord and I add that 9 there, now I have a major 9. It's that simple. But everybody's trying to complicate it by building the chord up here. Not only is that a big stretch for a beginner, right? A lot of people can't stretch from this C to this 9 up here with the 7th there, right? That can be difficult. You don't have to do that. Start with your triad, put this root note, this C on your left, lower your thumb. That's major 7 territory. Add the 2 of the key, which is always next door. It's in between the 1 and the 3, right? It's hiding right there. And now you have yourself a major 9. Now, if you want a dominant 9, you got to lower that 7th again, like we did in our last example, but just keep your 9 in there. And now you have yourself a dominant 9. And I just want to be clear that this tone here is what we call a minor 7th. I know a lot of people, and even I have called it a dominant 7, but interval wise, this is just the regular triad. That B represents the major 7th. And when you lower a major, you get minor. So that's minor 7th, right? So if I actually wanted to do this with minor triads, just in general, right? Not major, but minor, like your minor triads. Well, the thing you have to add, right? You still put your root on your left, right? And we're gonna take our thumb, but we're not gonna lower it one time. That's actually a chord too. It's called a minor major 7, but that's advanced actually. You hear that sound? Interesting, huh? But minor triads, they require minor 7th intervals. Okay, so you're actually going to skip that whole step down as we would do with dominant chords, right? So this would be a minor 7. Now, just to make sure you understand it, let's do this with D minor, okay? D minor triad. Let's take our D, put it on our left, right? And then let's go down, not a half step, but a whole step. Now, you're going to realize something here, that major chords have minor triads in them. Major 7 chords have minor triads in them, and minor 7 chords have major triads in them. Did you notice that? Like when we were in C major, right? C triad, and we lowered our thumb. If you think about this, this is an E minor chord by itself. Look at this B. Take this B off the bottom and just pretend that we're doing it on top. That is an E minor triad. I'm just playing it with the B on the bottom, my favorite inversion, right? And I got C, the root of this chord, on my left. So major 7, in totality, this is a major 7 chord, but it's really broken up of this E minor over this C bass. So I always tell people, you got major and minor, and you got minor and major. Let me prove it to you. If we go to this C minor chord, put the C on our left, but then do that same trick. Remember, with minor triads, you don't go to that you don't lower just once. You got to lower twice. You got to do a full whole step. But what is this that I'm playing on my right hand? What is this, right? Take this B flat for a second, put it on top, and you may recognize this as an E flat major triad. Wait, you mean to tell me a C minor 7 chord is like an E flat major chord over C? Yes, because major and minor, it's like yin and yang. It's kind of like you need bad to realize good, you know? It's this law of contraries. You got major and minor, and you got minor and major, and you're going to see this even when you play 9th chords, 11th chords, 13 chords. These musical mysteries are fascinating, right? So your homework is to take every major triad, right, and first convert it to a major 7 by lowering your thumb and mirroring your root note on your left. And then your second piece of homework is to take the second tone of that chord, that second tone of the scale, and add it. So with a major triad, I don't want to hear any excuses in the comment. Root on the left, lower the thumb, you got a major 7. I know somebody's going to say they don't get it. I know you got to repeat this video, because if you don't get this, then the rest of the music just ain't going to work. I'm literally saying to lower your thumb one note. I'm that kind of music teacher. I'm not mean, but I expect, when I know I'm breaking it down, I expect a lot from the students, okay? So come over to here and play if you're ready for this kind of instruction. But don't tell me you can't do that. Don't tell me, if somebody told me this on a Zoom class, I will stop the class and I say, what don't you understand about lowering your thumb one note? You tell me. We're going to sit here and wait till you do it and you get that failure helmet off. Everybody here can lower your thumb. Stop saying I only been playing for a week. I don't care. Lower your thumb. Okay, sorry for the rant. I want you to do this to every chord, okay? Lower your thumb, okay? Lower your thumb, okay? Lower your thumb, okay? Root, lower your thumb, okay? Lower your thumb. I want you to do this for every chord. And then once you lower your thumb, I want you to add that second note. Okay, that second note of the scale is going to feel like a whole step above, you know, your root. The note we got rid of here that we lowered, just go to that original note, and it's going to feel like that second note, okay? Add that, and that's your second step, right? Here, put the root, lower the thumb, add that second note, right? Right? That's that second note, okay? Here, put that on your left, lower your thumb, add that second note, right? And lastly, I want to break down actually an advanced voicing of a chord I learned like 20 years ago from Mike Bereal. We did a DVD with him and Jason White and all of the West Coast greats, right? And I remember he was teaching Oh How I Love Jesus on our DVD, and it's in the Gospel Music Training Center, hearandplay.com/gospel chords. And he was teaching Oh How I Love Jesus in G flat. And this is how he chose to voice the O, like the O, right? He did this voicing. So let's just take this back to the basic G flat triad, right? Now, he didn't lower his thumb. He's choosing to play the F in its normal position, up 7 notes of the scale, right? But That's not to say you can't lower your thumb to know what the note is really quickly. Like, I know that's an F. I'm just not going to play it there with this particular voicing. I'm going to play it up here. So that's what he did, right? And then in his left hand, he mirrored the G flat. He mirrored this fifth here. This happens to be the fifth tone of the scale. So this is just an advanced part. After this, he'll double up on this F here, this major seventh, and then he'd get rid of his one. It's common when you have that seventh below your one here to get rid of it, because it kind of creates some tension. So he gets rid of that, right, to give some space. So now you got these three notes left. But remember that ninth tone, which is nothing more than that banana, right? He's adding that banana back, which is a whole step from the root, right? G flat here, right? So that's that, right? And then he chooses to incorporate the melody. Never sacrifice the melody. The melody is oh, right? So he's going to then use this A flat and B flat. He's going to use his thumb to play those notes, leaving the rest of his fingers free to reach for that B flat, right? I always thought that was fascinating, how you can get from this to this, but it's just an understanding of major sevenths and ninths, and they're not that hard away. Even when you spread them out like this, you don't have to look at it like this from the beginning. You can use those shortcuts I showed you earlier to then know what the notes are, and then you can rearrange them and put them wherever you want. I remember he went, oh, it was something like that, right? It was crazy. Look at the DVD in the Gospel Music Training Center. All right, so this has been our lesson on major sevenths, major nines, and even how beginners can begin to go from 3-finger chords with a few shortcuts and mental connections to playing 4-finger chords, major sevenths, minor sevenths, dominant sevenths, and 5-finger chords, major ninths, minor ninths, dominant ninths. You can do this even if you consider yourself a beginner. Hey, if you enjoyed this lesson, if you enjoyed how we do things at Hear and Play, we are the longest running gospel piano website on the internet. Go to ChatGPT, go to Clyde, go to Google, ask them who's been teaching gospel piano the longest on the internet, and you will see Hear and Play comes up. Now, if you want to be aligned with a vision like that, head over to hearandplay.com/gospel course and try out the Gospel Music Training Center, our flagship community where thousands of students learning gospel music congregate to really get this thing down step by step. We've got a gospel grammar course. It's going to break down triads, sevenths, ninths. We've got thousands of songs in there. We do community events, and it's just the place to be for gospel music students. And if you're a real newbie, join us on our live workshops that we do every week on Zoom at hearandplay.com/gospel workshop. You can come in and you can learn some basic chords, and by the end of the workshop, you could be playing full songs like Here I Am to Worship and He's Able. So go over to hearandplay.com/gospel workshop for that. I'm Jermaine Griggs, founder of Hear and Play. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And as I've always said, if you can hear it, you can play it.